Hello, this is Malcolm McDowell. In a world built on stories where heroes rise, villains fall, and meaning hides between the frames, one podcast has dared to explore it all. From galaxies far away to quiet corners of small-town coffee houses, they've sought the truth hidden in pop culture's pulse. The laughter, the light, and the lessons buried beneath the spectacle. 200 episodes, and the adventure continues. This is Pop Culture Pastor.
Pop Culture Pastor.
So, Cody, that was Malcolm McDowell.
My dear, close, personal friend, Malcolm McDowell. Sir Malcolm McDowell.
Sir Malcolm McDowell just introduced our podcast, and I mean, we're done, right? That's
our show.
We can retire now. That was the podcast equivalent of hitting a leadoff home run. 200 episodes. Thanks for coming, everyone. It's all downhill from here. We're going to just pack it in.
It is.
Sir Malcolm McDowell from A Clockwork Orange and those funny phone commercials with James Earl Jones. You remember those?
I do remember those.
That was great. He's awesome. Thank you, Malcolm, so much for that. That was awesome. 200 episodes, Cody. We've done this way more than 200 times. It's just 200 regular episodes.
That's like 4 years.
It's 3 years, right?
No.
Has it been 4 years?
52 times 4 is 208, my friend.
Oh, wow.
And we have skipped some weeks.
Time flies.
When you're having fun.
Yeah, we are having fun, and we're still having fun. So hopefully we're going to have at least 200 more. Things are going well. We're going to get into this later. We're going to give you kind of like the state of the podcast while talking about the future. This whole episode is going to be much like episode 1. You remember episode 1, Cody?
Vaguely.
2 dudes who didn't know what they were doing. We just got on here and talked, and we kind of talked about what we wanted to do, what we wanted it to be. Now we're going to do something similar to that. We're going to talk about where we're going. I think we know what we want to be now.
Still 2 dudes who know nothing.
And we're going to talk about the future. And so I guess to do that, the first thing we got to talk about is just what pop culture entertainment looks like in the future. So I got some data here, Cody, if you're ready for this. According to one study, only 11% of Americans finish the videos they start. And nearly 30% lose sleep because they're streaming too much.
Oh.
Are you one of them?
No. I value my sleep.
I'd say about once every couple weeks, I'm on X or Reels or something like that. And I started off watching like Christian videos or something like that. And then I look up and it's like 1 a.m. and I'm an expert in medieval siege weapons.
As one should be.
This is also it's also like getting an example of what's going on inside an ADHD mind. I will fall down rabbit holes, and all of a sudden, then I see a reel that's interesting. Then I got to go research it, and then it's 1:30 a.m. and
I have ended up on some weird, interesting sides of Twitter. I don't know how.
Yeah. Cody sends me all his interesting stuff, and sometimes I'm just like, I don't know what crowds Cody be running in.
All of them.
Definitely the wrestling. Well, I'm in a group where you send people wrestling stuff. And then every time I get a notification for it, I wonder why I'm in it. Because I'm like, I don't know anything about these. I mean, I know something about wrestling, but.
And sometimes it is good humanity stories that involve wrestling.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, Dave will appreciate this even if he doesn't know who this is.
So we already fell down a rabbit hole with Cody's X habits.
Yes.
This is kind of what this episode's going to be, because there's not really a solid point. We're celebratory right now. We're just celebrating. And right now it's pop culture future. The same study found that 38% admit to watching shows they don't even like just to stay in a certain conversation.
That's weird.
Like, imagine this. We did watch-alongs for Severance. This piece would say, roughly 30% of the people watching Severance maybe were just watching it so they could stay in the conversation, but don't really like it. Secret Invasion, I hate watched the whole thing.
Yes.
I'm not proud of that.
But had to stay in the conversation.
Mostly just because I kept thinking, oh, the next episode's got to be better, right? No, they just kept getting worse. Anyways, I can see it. I knew people that were like kind of hate watching Lost back in the day.
Yes.
And they were just complaining about it, but they felt like they wanted to stay in the conversation. But it definitely wasn't 38%. That number has probably gone up.
I know some people with Stranger Things that are like that it's not their cup of tea, but their spouse or family really loves it. And they're like, well, I gotta watch it. So then I'm included in the conversation.
Yeah, I've noticed that with Stranger Things, people are hating on it more now. They're like making fun of that it's been around for so. I suppose like it's like the old the Batman, die the hero or live long enough to become the villain.
Yes.
And so I suppose it's sort of similar to that. Although you told, okay, so this is this is reminding me of something. You told me that you had a theory on how the Duffer Brothers were ruining TV.
Oh yes.
And this seems like a good time to tell me what that theory was, because I was just like, what?
Oh, so I had sent an X comment that someone had tweeted this, and that there was like 3 reasons why the Duffer Brothers had ruined TV shows in general. So part of it has to do with how Netflix even values their shows. Because there's been highly successful, popular shows that just get the axe.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't transform the culture and get the merchandising that Stranger Things has gotten, then they don't justify it in the same means. So it has added extra criteria for Netflix shows to actually go the distance, if you will. Also, when I was growing up, literally every year you got a new season.
Yeah. I know where you're going with this one.
I did not have to wait 5 years, and each episode is now a feature-length movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still a little upset that Netflix canceled the OA, which I loved.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't like commercially hot, I think. It was a great show, though.
I was going to say, I think it had a cult following.
Yeah. Not to be confused with the AOOA, which was a reboot of Who's the Boss. I need someone on the drums, man. You only get that joke if you're old enough to have watched Who's the Boss.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. There's a lot of weird things that happen now. But yeah, I could have done with the whole... Like, we could have gone through the whole story of Stranger Things before the kids reached the age of 28. Yes. That would have been nice. Here's some other ongoing issues, as long as we're talking about the future of entertainment. The streaming industry is facing major shifts. You've got the rise of ad-supported models, which, what are we doing? Why is everything going backwards? You remember when we switched to streaming, got rid of cable or dish, and it was so cheap? And now we're like paying the same prices we were paying when we had DirecTV.
Although, I will say, those other options are still around, and they've gone up and have less channels. So you're still probably a little cheaper, but not much.
Yeah, but who wants to pay $400 for Dish Network, you know? You know what I'm saying?
I will not shame the dish.
No, yeah, well, unless Dish Network wants to sponsor us, and then I'm like, bring it on.
Yes.
We love Dish Network. We've always said that. Yeah, so you got like streaming is shifting itself. You've got AI and content workflow. You've got subscription fatigue among people. Like Disney has experienced that with their online platform.
Something I do that evidently not everyone does, which is weird to me. When I know that there is going to be a gap in shows that I will consume, I cut streaming platforms and then rejoin later, like 6 months or 8 months down the road. And evidently that is like taboo.
Did you just out yourself then?
Probably.
Yeah. I probably spend too much on streaming networks, but like, you know, when your kids all watch something different. Every time I talk about ending a streaming service, I've got some kid in my ear like, no, Dad, My Hero Academia is on that. Like, oh, okay. My middle child, my second oldest girl's watching some anime about volleyball.
As one should.
And it's serious. It's not funny. Like they're taking volleyball serious, man. Here's the implication, not to just weave in and out of the point here, but here's the implication from some of this data. The viewer is no longer just about what's new, but it's also kind of about what's manageable. Mm-hmm. Because there's an abundance of content, and that's becoming its own problem. You're getting a lot of quality content, but a lot of it just dies on the vine because there's not enough time in the day for everybody to watch all these good things. Cody, with only about 11% of people finishing what they start these days, what does that say about how we consume pop culture now?
I think that it says, A, our attention spans are low. B, I think FOMO is a serious thing with our generations that are younger than the boomers. That like, oh, fear of missing out. I gotta stay relevant with whatever's happening around me. So Stranger Things is going to take up my time, even if I think that My Hero Academia is a better show.
Yeah, FOMO only goes so far, though. Like for me, I think I already feel like a boomer because like Stranger Things, I've only got time for one thing. There's always about 10 shows on my radar that I know I'm just not going to get to 9 of them.
Yes. And also I think that you have to think about the economy that we're in. Platforms are raising their prices. And then movie theaters still are very rocky. And so I wish I knew what the pirating numbers were.
Speaking of which, we need another Rocky movie. I think that would help. The pirating numbers, where do you even... Well, maybe I shouldn't ask that. I don't want to put that out there. I was like, is that even a still thing? Is someone doing LimeWire? What are we talking about?
Oh, pirating is still a thing.
Yeah, and I should know that.
And in some ways, it might be easier than back in the day. But post-Napster back in the day.
Cody wouldn't know anything about that.
I wouldn't, except I do know some individuals that sailed the high seas.
Oh! Are any of them geeks of the round table? Because this could be a morality clause thing.
I don't know.
He's like going all RFK. He's like, I don't recall. I'm pleading the fifth.
Yes.
Do you ever find yourself lately not starting a show because you feel like you won't finish it?
No, but there have been shows that were suggested to me that I'm like, there's like already 10 seasons of this.
Yeah.
And so nope.
Yeah, if I'm not within a season of it starting, forget it. There's no way. I can't. Like, I just don't have time to sit and binge anymore. That's the problem. Like, I'm good when I'm really into a show. Like, I went ahead and started watching Peacemaker because you were begging me to.
I begged you to watch Sandman, and we still haven't done that. And it was a far more superior show.
Yeah, it's on my list. But I would watch it at night when my kids went to bed. I'd watch an episode, and then I'd go to bed, and then I watch another episode. You know, so I got into a rhythm of that. I can do that, but like I'm just good for one show. Binging is not really a thing I can do anymore.
Oh, I can still binge.
I just I feel like I'm old enough where my weekends aren't really weekends either. You know, like I just don't get the time. It's so rare for my wife and I to get like that magical day.
Yes.
Where it's like, hey, we're not doing anything. What do you want to do? Well, we should, watch that old season of 24. Which is when we were younger, that is how we binge an entire season of 24 in one day.
I also think that there is a group of people that like certain, I guess, older shows. Now they're older. I mean, you go with Friends and The Office as the standbys that like people just watch that on repeat.
Yeah.
And I'm closer to that because when I come home and my wife and I are eating, like a show we've already watched, we can talk over. And also we know this is the part where Michael Scott talks about rabies. And so we pause, we laugh, and then we get back to our conversation.
I think part of that is due to the times, though, too, because, like, especially with a show like The Office or even New Girl, where they say, oh, you almost couldn't make this show today, which those shows aren't even that old. But, like, there's something to that. And then the amount of numbers of people that rewatch those old sitcoms should tell us something, because it's like, look, with all due respect to people who find some of that humor offensive from the late 90s, early aughts, whatever, with all due respect to that, there are a large number of people who say, yeah, that was it for me. I liked those shows. And so I'm just going to keep watching them.
Now, I will also point out that I grew up in the time of syndication, and my grandparents had the Andy Griffith Show on. All the time, and Gilligan's Island.
I'm embarrassed to tell you how many episodes of Green Acres I watched.
And so, like, I think there's also a longing for yesteryear that just gets passed on generation to generation, and it looks different for each group. There's mornings I'll wake up and I'll be like, you know what I need for my 20-minute drive? Some 90s country music. You look at me, you don't think that, but
I think nobody needs that, if we're being honest, unless it's Garth. I think we could all use some Garth. The industry isn't the only thing changing, Cody. A fandom is changing. So research into 50 plus fandoms found that negative emotions, anger, ambivalence, bitterness are increasingly prevalent in fan communities, and the distinction between lone wolf fans versus community fans is kind of shifting. Another report indicates that fandom and community behaviors are fracturing. So the old model of fandom loyalty is under some stress, and especially with more formats and platforms and IPs competing for, I would say, limited geek attention. The implication is that fandoms used to be about devotion. Now it's almost about navigation of these like subcultures within the fandoms.
Yeah. And
sometimes they think what they're saying is that fatigue is setting in when fans feel overserved or over demanded. I guess I don't know how to say that, but too much material, like maybe with the MCU, or when you have overserved, I guess, like when you're doing too much fan service, and then you end up, because the fandom is so fragmented now and wants different things, if you give this section of fandom fan service, then all the other sections are going to feel isolated and left out in the cold.
Although I will point out that I think that the opposite is also a big thing, because there's been several times Marvel has tried to outthink their fans. And they're like, yeah, don't read the comic books, because we're going to make something so much better. Director, don't read it. Actors, don't waste your time.
Narrator, they were not making things better. Like, just make the material, man.
I get that you need to update the material to fit your context of where the stories are, or shift some characters, because like that worked in the 70s, it might not work in 2025.
Okay, so let's role play. Cody, you're a Hollywood executive. You're Bob Iger.
Yeah,
you're the head of Disney.
Bobby Iger.
You've got Star Wars, you've got Marvel, and you've ran both of them into the ground. So fandom used to be a fairly simple thing. You loved a thing, you supported it. Now you're hearing about ambivalence, negativity, overload. Cody, have you felt the fandom burnout? And then what does it look like from where you're sitting now? What do you do if you're the head of these huge Hollywood monoliths?
I mean, you can see the fandom burnout with some of the box office, in which that's the bottom line, buddy. But I do think that you got two options. You either stay the course and people will fall back in line because life's a pendulum, or it ebbs and flows, if you will. or you go the exact opposite route and you just stop everything. Now, if you stop everything, you got to have a good backup to plug in. I don't know with how, especially like comic book movies and some of those bigger sci-fi properties, how you just plug something in to replace it immediately. You have to have a plan. So you like wean people off to wean them on to something else, or you just stay the course. I would stay the course.
Okay. Yeah, I think sometimes we compare it to pre-COVID stuff, especially movie theaters. And then they compare, like, so the Superman movie is a great example. The Zack Snyder bros love to compare Superman, this movie's take, versus Man of Steel pre-COVID. And without recognizing that, I think we still live in a different environment as far as movie theaters go. Movie theaters never really rebounded completely from COVID. We've had movies that have made $1 billion like we had before, but not as many. And IP really never got back to that point.
So my question is, was it like a housing bubble where the market gets super inflated and a lot of things get overvalued and now life's coming crashing back down?
I think that's part of it. Then we go back to, like, is there just too much content? I think the MCU, you could definitely make that argument. And I think they admitted as much. They were just trying to do too much, trying to keep it all connected. And then it was just a mush.
Well, I don't think that they did a good job storytelling.
No, it was awful.
Now, I think if they would have done a better job storytelling and putting out all the content they did, we might have a different conversation. But they couldn't juggle, as the kids say.
Yeah, and really, they've only proven with Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four that they can tell an individual story good again, which is good. Like, those movies both were good movies. They may not have been perfect, but they were good. But now the next couple that come out will, like, they're going to have to prove, we can tell these connected stories again. Because now you're getting back into the connection of the whole ongoing story. So you got the Russos back, so we'll see what happens.
And Bobby Downey Jr.
Yeah, my fear is it's just so overloaded with people and things, and I'm just gonna is this just gonna be mush? Let's talk about AI, because
my friend James Gunn has talked about AI.
I thought you were gonna make an Allen Iverson joke.
No, not this time.
So AI is obviously a huge topic right now. AI tools are a part of content creation. They're a part of personalization. They're part of workflows in the industry. One example, virtual actors, AI actors, which we talked about one here a couple weeks back.
One of the guys from Shark Tank has been talking about he doesn't know why more studios aren't using AI background actors.
Oh, background, yeah.
Yeah, just like CGI in people that kind of look like they're real people. It'd save you a ton of money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we don't need to be doing this, buddy.
I mean, they're going to eventually. I think that's the scary part is the technology. If it's not there yet, it won't take long. It's advanced so fast from just a year ago where you couldn't even get AI pictures without dudes having 8 digits. Now they're looking more and more good, man. I don't know.
I can't tell you how many people I know that have been fooled on repeat.
Oh man, social media is a mess. Viewers are intrigued by AI generated content. This is what the studies show, but many still express preference for human emotionally connected storytelling. So the implication from the studies I looked at, Cody, say that the performer and the storyteller roles might shift a little, but it'll raise questions of authenticity, emotional resonance, because if you ask AI to tell you a story, it might use good language, it might use good form even, but it's going to be missing something in the feeling department. So yeah, what are fans willing to embrace? That will kind of be the question. So when you're talking about AI actors, virtual humans, content partially generated by machines, Cody, does the idea of any completely AI-led performance excite you or worry you, and why?
It definitely doesn't excite me.
It excites Bob Iger.
It does. Again, it's all about the mighty dollar.
We're not paying Matt Damon. We've got Dat Maimon.
I do find concern just because there's so many people within the industry. Even if you say, well, we're losing like 20 actors in this. Well, you're also losing the makeup artist. You're losing the sound people that have to like record that. You're losing other people that you don't see. Yeah. The long list of names that you see scrolling while waiting for the second post credits in a Marvel movie, those people are also going to suffer besides the actors and the storytelling. Wrestling has talked about WWE announced that they were using some AI, and people were worried that it was going to be part of the storytelling because it was connected to the storytelling department. And essentially WWE said, oh, we're going to use it to keep track of like matches and approval and like mapping out some future stories, but we will keep all the arcs to ourselves in-house. We're not going to put that on AI. We're going to keep it all us.
Yeah. Here's my concern. Cody. Let's start off with the fact that people feel more alone and isolated now than ever. Let's start with that. And then I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever felt like there was a movie, an actor and actress's performance, or even an artist, a musical artist who wrote a song that you emotionally resonated and connected with?
All the time.
Yes. Okay. To some people, like even to an unhealthy state sometimes, because like there are people who end up like stalking somebody because they felt like they connected with a performer in a movie or a song. Like, this song is about me, it changed my life, blah, blah, blah. And like, look, while we can understand that when taken that far, it's bad. However, understand that it also comes from a good place. That there's something about when a human creates that still can connect with another human. Mm-hmm. And my worry is that even as isolated and alone as people are now, if you start replacing actors with AI and even music with AI creations instead of real people playing real instruments, are we just going to get like, I don't think people walk around today thinking, oh, this is the worst it can get. I think they're not thinking, can it get worse than this? They're thinking, oh, we couldn't possibly be more isolated. I disagree. Mm-hmm. I think we could get way more isolated. I think it could get really bad.
Well, not to scare people, but like teens and adults are turning to like chat bots, AI to like carry on conversations. For better or for worse.
Man.
And there's been several examples of how it's worse.
Yeah.
Even with comic books, DC had to issue a statement. James Gunn echoed it for DCU that, like, we're not going to use any AI storytelling. I think there needs to be limits and boundaries and thoughtful conversations that have to happen before we embrace too much AI.
Yeah. So this is going to lead into kind of where we want to go with our show and what we think people are going to crave in the future. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back and talk about
Allen Iverson.
No, we're going to have a little state of the pod for our 200th episode, like a state of the pod address, and talk about the future.
As one show should.
We'll be right back.
Pop Culture Pastor.
All right, Cody. So we're back. 200th episode. We've been talking about the future of just like pop culture entertainment. And I thought we would shift this into kind of ease into the future of Pop Culture Pastor because, like, look, I don't know where we thought this was going to go. Over 200 episodes. Well, first of all, I think if you had told us we were going to do 4 years and 200 episodes plus, we'd been like, okay.
I thought this show was going to go to the moon by now.
I thought I was going to be Joseph Rogan.
One could have hoped.
This is all on the listeners. This is your fault. I'll outline that later. Pull your weight. No, I didn't think anything about it. Honestly, this has always been just a way for us to get to go to comic conventions and to build community. We're ministers at heart. We are followers of Jesus, and it's okay if you're not. It's okay if you get certain feelings when you hear about that. What you need to know is, like, we're not trying to press or force anything on you. We just want to have community with people because the world is just busy dissecting us over the things we don't have in common. And we think we just have way more in common. We like pop culture. We like movies. We like TV shows. And we think we should be friends and talk about that, even if nothing else in our life lines up.
Mm-hmm.
So that was always the only reason we ever did this, was to be able to talk about the things we like to talk about and then go to comic conventions and meet people like you listeners and to be friends. That's it. No strings attached.
None.
Until this episode. Carry your weight. No. No, that's what we wanted. But now when we're talking about the future and AI and stuff, I think in the next 10 to 15 years, what you're really going to see is, especially the younger generations who will grow up with this all they know, are going to crave authenticity. And that means just people like live streaming, just talking. I think that's actually going to be a format that people crave, that people want, and it's not scripted. It's not anything. We're just talking.
I definitely see the need for that because there are groups and segments of our population that don't get to experience that, whether by choice or by circumstances that they are currently in. But it's weird because I was talking with someone the other day about where we're at currently, and we were talking about, like, growing up, when the phone would ring, you would, like, run, grab it, and, like, have this long cord and be like, is this for me? Who's this for? And then, like, I remember when my household got caller ID, and I was like, oh, I know this isn't for me. I'm not answering that.
Remember when you first got the remote phones, and if you had siblings, like, the phone would be ringing, you couldn't find it?
Yep.
Where's the phone? You got it in your room again? Mom!
But, like, the caller ID was kind of that first step of, well, I don't need interaction with this person or whatever. Yeah. And then, like, there was more and more things as time went on that it's like, well, I don't need to call. I can text.
Yeah. If I want to weird out my kids, I just tell them, hey, when back in the day when I was a kid and you'd call if your friends would call you and you weren't home, they just didn't know where you were. And that was it. You had to wait for him to get back home. There was no way to get to him.
And if you had an answering machine, they might or might not leave you a message.
And there may not have been a cool little jingle that they self-sung into the nobody's home. We were so lame. But yeah, so we're thinking about all these things. And listen, what you need to know about the podcast, since this is a state of the podcast section, is the podcast is growing. It grows very slowly. We pick up a few listeners here and there every Comic Con we go to. Every time one of our posts has some good crossover appeal, we usually pick up a listener or two. So the listenership is growing, and hopefully that means the community keeps growing. And so we've got to talk about, well, what it is that we want to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I will have posted this by the time this show drops, but I'm going to post a poll. And on that poll is just going to be all the show types we do. And the question of the poll is going to be, what do you want to see more of? So it could be list busters. It could be Be Kind Rewinds. It could be just straight movie reviews. Could be pop culture drafts.
Celebrity interviews.
What's up, docs? You know, celebrity interviews. We did have Malcolm McDowell.
We also had Pat
Fraley. Yeah.
And I include Doug Heddy, even though he was on for a new movie review and a Be Kind Rewind.
Yeah, we love Doug. Doug is a local weatherman who has done a couple episodes with us.
Celebrity interview.
Be praying for Doug. Doug's a busy dude, but just pray God's blessings over him if you're the type to pray. Or send good vibes his way if you're the type that sends vibes. I don't know what those are, but Doug could use him because he's busy. He's got some anxiety in his life. You know, he's a good dude. So yeah, I'm going to put up that poll, and we really want to hear from as many of the listeners as possible that are in. You got to be in the Facebook community group. So it's Pop Culture Pastor Podcast community group,
which is separate from the Pop Culture Pastor Facebook group.
Yeah. Well, no, Facebook page. Yeah. So
Page
you're going to confuse
groups.
people. But yeah, you got to join the group because that's where we do more of the interaction, because you'll see more of the posts then if you're in the group. So we're going to put that up. And the second thing I really want to do with the listeners is, I made a couple jokes about this so far. I want to encourage the listeners that this is a community, and for you to take a little bit of ownership in it. If you like this podcast, if you think that we're worth listening to at all, if we bring anything to your life, then share this. Share our posts. Share with your friends. Tell your friends about this podcast.
Interact in the group.
Listen, the last thing we want to do is get rich. That's not us. And I know that sounds like, oh, people just say that. I promise you, you do not get into ministry with the idea of being rich. We want to expand this so we can go to more comic conventions and get a bigger community group, because nothing would make me happier, Cody, than this group, this podcast, to get big enough where we actually were known in a way of just being a safe haven, where you're not going to get judged. There's no gatekeepers here. This is just people who like TV and movies and stories. We like stories and music. We like stories and video games. And no, that's the big thing I want to say, is there will never be gatekeeping here. Never. Because we want you with us. We're better together. That's kind of the thing we're living by here. So if you believe that and you like that and you want that, then help us grow this podcast. This isn't our podcast, me and Cody. It's our podcast, as in all of you who dedicate time to listen to this every week.
So I will piggyback off of the other profession I'm in. And in therapy, like, do you know who the expert is?
I don't know.
it's the individual that is seeking out services. It's the patient or client that they're the expert of themselves.
Yeah.
And so we basically are facilitators.
Yeah.
We are trying to keep the group going and keep the party happening, asking questions, making posts, that sort of stuff. But you all are heavily important and valued in this process and are the experts of the pod.
Yeah.
So
it's the whole reason why I created the Geeks of the Round Table. At first, it was just the inner circle of guests we would have repeatedly in the early days. But then you'll notice that everyone who's ever been on the show was automatically an official Geek of the Round Table. And we have stickers that you can get at Comic Cons and whatnot that say official Geek of the Round Table, because that's the thing, is I wanted to create something that says, hey, this is about you. You're in the inner circle, because that's the only circle we have. You're all in. That's the big secret. That's the big trick, if you will, is you're all in. You're all in our circle. And so this show's always been about community. It's the geeks. It's the nerds. It's the people that listen. You're the reason this exists. We want to build this with you, not for you, not for everyone else, like we just want to get huge. We want to build it together. So it's about all of us. And then it's going to be like, we're going to be like LeBron. If we win, everybody wins. We're taking everyone with us when we go to Comic-Con in San Diego. You're all coming. We can't foot the bill for that. So,
That is not a contractually binding statement that Dave just made.
What can we ask our listeners to do or engage with that would feel fresh, meaningful, not just one more podcast episode? How can our community own the next chapter? These are the questions we're kind of trying to think about.
Yes.
So what do you guys think? Let us know when we post this episode. And any way you can comment. You can comment on our social posts. You can even comment on Spotify. No one ever comments on there. You can comment on YouTube.
I did see that you could comment on Spotify. And I'm like, if I listened to the pod, I would comment.
All right. So that's kind of what we're thinking of with the future of the podcast. We would love to do more streaming things.
I was going to say video.
We would love to do video. The problem with video right now is our studio is not really set up for that. We'd have a lot of work to do.
You just get me a sledgehammer, buddy.
And we don't have all the equipment necessary for video, but that's eventually where we want to go. All right. We're going to take another break. When we come back, a supersized 200th episode celebratory The Lobby segment.
200 questions.
Meet us out in the lobby.
Welcome to the lobby.
All right, we're out in the lobby. It's time
For chocolate-covered raisins.
Gross. No, I will never have chocolate-covered raisins. Always nachos. Nachos is a good standby. Like we're in America, so we like processed cheese sauce here.
I can't argue that. I thought about it.
Okay. The lobby is just simply this. We answer listener questions. Usually it's something we do at the end of every third or fourth podcast episode. And it's just a couple questions. Today we thought we would really try to answer at least, so many of you had multiple questions. I at least tried to get one question from as many people as I could. Now, some of you I saved because there were a couple questions that I thought could be full episodes.
No way, Jose.
Yeah. Yes way. And I really think that those could be full episodes. So if we don't get to your question, don't freak out.
Just know your question was too good for this episode.
That's exactly what it is. All right. So we're going to start off with Becca Allen from Winter Park, Florida.
Howdy.
She wanted to know what our opinion on this new movie being talked about. I guess Jim Carrey is in talks to star in a Jetsons movie as George Jetson.
Meet George Jetson.
Are you down with a Jetsons movie, Cody?
As someone that actually enjoyed the Jetsons cartoon, why not? I mean, we've brought everything else back.
It doesn't seem a little sad, the Jim Carrey part. I feel like Jim Carrey is, I don't know, he's grasping onto IPs lately. He's in the Sonic stuff.
So he had sort of retired and then Sonic brought him out. So
I didn't know that.
I think these are more, if he's doing it, it's more something he's passionate about or something that he wants to do.
Okay.
And for that, I'm okay with. And I actually think he'd make a good George Jetson, but isn't the Jetsons supposed to take place like roughly in the time that we're living in now?
Well, okay. So I think it would be hilarious to play around with that. Of this idea that maybe the Jetsons came to life in the real world and then found out that we suck.
We are so far behind.
That we're not nearly as cool as we were supposed to be.
Where is my flying car? And having a robot maid.
Where is my robot maid that's supposed to make all our meals? Where's my Rosie? I think I'm okay with it, but do it clever. Just don't. I think what they're starting to try and figure out is with the older IP. Like, I think the younger IP, you can just do a straight thing like Minecraft and it's going to work. Because the young kids, you haven't done anything for the younger generation stuff. And so they just, any taste they get of it, they're going to go in droves. But the older stuff has been so done, all the IP, we're used to getting IP on the big screen. It's got to be clever. You got to do something with it. The first 2 seasons of Cobra Kai were just kind of genius. So yeah, good question, Becca. Matt Williams from Emmaus, Pennsylvania. He's got a podcast of his own.
Hi, Matt, fellow podcaster.
Hello, Matt. We're very new friends. I just friended Matt on Facebook. He says, how do you keep the podcast spark going after 200 episodes?
Contrarian Cody.
Well, we always go out on dates. We keep the spark going. No, that got weird. No, I think the big thing is, Matt, is this isn't just, we kind of said this earlier, but there's no ulterior motive to this. Cody and I genuinely like talking about stories and movies and things we like to talk about. And like, listen, we do not have a whole lot in common.
That might be shocking to some people.
In a lot of ways, Cody and I are the model for what we want to do with the community. Because I think in the grand scheme of things, if we didn't do this, we wouldn't be enemies, but maybe we wouldn't be that close to each other just because we're different generationally. Cody's about 10 years younger than me. 10 years or more?
89, baby.
Yeah, so 13 years. So we've got a generational difference, plus our tastes for pop culture, other than like the really nerdy stuff, the stuff most people are into, Star Wars, comic books, things like that.
Thor, Love and Thunder.
Cody really likes scary movies, and I really don't.
I like intelligent ones, and I like suspense.
Yeah.
And also a good twist.
But yeah, how do you keep the spark going? Well, it's easy when it's not an act.
Yeah. Don't force it.
Yeah. Get someone, if you want to do a podcast, talk with someone you like and talk about things you like.
Yes. Build off your strengths. A strengths-based approach, another therapeutic tool.
Yeah. See, I don't even know what he's talking about right now.
Strengths,
he's too intelligent for
strengths me. Are things that you like, that you're passionate about, and that you already have.
Yeah. So Matt, I think you do a podcast. If I looked at your page with a friend, and yeah, I assume that it'll be easy for you to keep it going.
You got this.
Eric Farmer from right here in our town in Chanute, Kansas.
Friend of the pod.
He says August 8th of 2026.
That's so far in the future.
Is the 40th anniversary of the greatest and one of the pillars of 80s pop culture animated movies, Transformers the movie. It's definitely worth a Be Kind rewind. I will die on this hill. My question is, could you please make it happen?
I mean, I don't even know what that time period will look like.
Oh, it's going to look like we're still doing this pod.
Potentially.
That's less than a year away.
It is.
Quit acting like it's so far.
Now, I will say, just because Unicron is in it, that is enough of a push for me to say, let's make it happen, Captain.
Yeah, I think
August 2026.
Yeah, I am inclined to agree with my esteemed colleague and friend, Cody, Contrarian Cody. And I will say yes, for the 40th anniversary, and because we like you, Eric, I promise that we will do a Be Kind rewind of Transformers the movie, the animated movie, for its 40th anniversary in August of 2026. God willing.
Creek not rising.
Yeah, you never know. I could not be around. I might be dead. That things happen.
Also, I'll work on my Orson Welles between now and then.
But nothing would make me happier than to talk about that soundtrack and, of course, Unicron and Orson Welles. So, yes, we promise. Jim Smith from Pittman, New Jersey says, what will be the next watch-along?
Okay, so I messaged Dave before I got this question presented to me, in January, Shrinking comes back. Now, there might be a show that comes out before January, and like it's on Apple, so you may or may not have even heard of it. But Michael J. Fox is going to be in this season. Mm-hmm. Tears will happen. I might even cry on the pod. God only knows.
So if you're new here, our watch-alongs episodes are things we do. It's basically a second smaller episode that drops during the week, where we go episode by episode of a TV show, a streaming show that's coming out week by week.
Although, as we are recording, there is a series that comes out this coming Sunday.
Which is?
Welcome to Deary.
Yeah, I'm not into it.
I knew he wouldn't be, so that's why that one wasn't even an option.
From is about as scary as I get. We did do the last season of From, and I assume we'll do the next season whenever it comes out. Do we have a date on that?
I will be looking.
Yeah. So, yeah, we do watch-alongs. We prefer, we probably won't do Stranger Things because they drop in clumps.
And they are the length of a movie.
Yeah, and they're huge. They're not really episodes of a show anymore this season. We prefer shows that come out weekly that we can talk about each episode as they come out. Shrinking is a great option if you haven't watched the first 2 seasons.
Yes, 2 seasons.
2 seasons of Shrinking. They're short episodes. They're like 30 minutes, I think. They're well worth a watch. It's a sweet show. It's funny. It's got a great heart.
From the creators of Ted Lasso.
Yeah, so you know it would. So that will be a good option for sure. It's going to be a possibility. So that would be the next bankable one. Jim Smith is maybe Shrinking. So get your Apple TV and catch up on Shrinking. Scott Patrick Dillon in Indianapolis, Indiana. Geek of the Round Table.
Home of the Colts.
Yes.
And
the Pacers.
The Pacers and a racetrack.
He wants to know, how did you guys first meet? What were your first impressions of one another? I'm really interested in this because 1, I don't remember, but 2, I'm interested to hear what Cody's first impressions of me were.
Okay, so there's 3 individual things that happen.
Oh, man, you do remember. Okay.
So 1, I meet your wife long before I meet you because my mom worked with Dave's wife. Mm-hmm.
I knew Cody's mom long before I knew Cody.
I knew of Dave, and my mom would compare me to you.
Oh, really?
Because
that's interesting.
Evidently, you liked to play video games and were about geeky things.
Yep. That pans out. Yeah.
Okay, so that is knowing of. There is a basketball game that is played at a local Christian academy, and I get invited by the John brothers, or at least Brian John. It might have been both brothers. And you were playing, and I was playing.
A pickup game?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And Dave was boxing out and throwing bows. And I'm like, this dude's too intense.
I'm physical. I'm a physical player.
And I was just trying to be like Dennis Rodman, just grabbing boards and passing it out to shooters.
I do not remember that at
all. And then the first legit, we're having conversation happens because my church is trying to put on a concert. And I'm like, oh, I need to talk to the manager at the fire escape. Surely I can make connections. And so Dave's like, well, yeah, I can announce Carrollton coming to Chanute.
That's right. I remember that.
Gradually we started talking about if you want to occasionally be on the radio show.
Yeah. So Cody and I were doing radio together for, how long? A couple of years?
At least.
Before we started doing any podcast stuff. But yeah, Cody and I were already good. That's how we knew we would work well together on the podcast, because we've been doing it for a long time. I think the first time I remember hearing of Cody, and it was when I got to town. I worked for this thing called Sika, which essentially it was part of the Southeast Kansas Mental Health, but it was essentially an after school program for kids whose like parents both work. So we would keep them from after school till like 5:30. And I was like the oldest person there because mostly it was younger people. But I got there just after Cody left. Were you like a supervisor?
So I was the teen group coordinator.
Okay.
So assistant coordinator over the whole county, but the head over the teams.
So when I got there, and I'm the new guy, and understand I have experience. Like I'd worked at Burt Nash Mental Health in Lawrence, Kansas. Shout out Burt Nash. All my friends that still work there.
A much bigger entity.
And so, yeah, I had experience. I'd worked with the homeless population there. So I'd never worked with kids before. And when I got there, boy, everyone raved about Cody. And they would just be like, I miss Cody. And then like this new guy here, he's not nearly as fun as Cody. And so like everything I heard about Cody was like, I was pretty sure he was going to walk on water. So that's how I first remember hearing about Cody. And then of course I'd known his mom through my wife and his mom working together. Who's his mom? Sweet. Leanne, sweetest lady ever.
A lot nicer than me. A lot more emotions than me too.
Yeah. So that's kind of our background here. Good question, Scott. David Allen from Winter Park, Florida. If you guys were turned back into toddlers by an evil time-altering monster, what would the pod be like?
I think we would delve more into sports.
I suppose there'd be a lot more drooling.
There would be a lot more drooling. So, like, I read the question more like, what would our interests be like from when we were toddlers?
Like if we were just more simple?
Like, so when I was a toddler, I was really big into like watching. And when I say toddler, I mean probably 3 on up through grade school. I was really big into watching sports. Like I consumed Sports Center every morning, 6 o'clock to right before we left for school.
That's wild.
And I had a basketball goal in the backyard that my parents had made, and that like my dad had a relative that was into fiberglassing, and like it had the Chicago Bulls emblem on it. Like I was all sold out. There would have been some pop culture-y things that we do talk about, but I think there would have been a lot more sports.
Interesting.
And 90s country.
I've never thought about someone who would like grew up in the Sports Center prime years, the glory years of Sports Center, because by that time, you know, I'm upper teens, young adult, and I watched Sports Center too, but obviously it didn't hit me in the same place it hits you, because when I'm that age, I'm watching like Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers.
Sesame Street, the street's still a thing at that time.
Well, as we called it in the hood, the street. Yeah. Yeah. David also wants to know when he gets to play the movie game, because he always wins at home.
I will have to make sure that you are not cheating, that there's no electronic devices that are giving you answers.
David, here's your options. Something I neglected to say in the future of the pod thing was, we would love to do live episodes in front of an audience, like when we went to Comic Cons, but obviously we need the pod to get bigger. So
recorded in front of a live studio audience.
That's right. So again, this is where the ownership thing comes up. Like we would love to get to a Comic Con in Florida and do like a live episode where we would have you on and you could play the movie game and destroy Cody.
Easily.
But we can't do it over Zoom because I can't guarantee that you wouldn't cheat.
Yeah, I'm not about that cheating life. Or you'll have to come to Kansas.
Yeah, or you'll have to come to Kansas. I don't think that's as... somehow I think us going to Florida seems like a more liable thing to happen.
Probably.
And he says, when you guys are old men doing the pod, I like his faith. When you're old men doing the pod, will you be like Statler and Waldorf?
Halfway there, buddy. Halfway there.
We already argue like an old married couple. Like you should hear us when we're not recording. At comic conventions, we're always like, you know, we're doing that old married couple thing. Adrienne Dent here in our neck of the woods says, what is your favorite in-person pod listener interaction? And what has been your best Comic Con so far?
So I didn't fully. I might be misreading this question.
Oh,
But I might not be. So my favorite interaction I've had was I was talking to someone that was listening to our pod while I was talking with them. And it was one of the list busters. It was the one over comic book movies.
They were listening to the pod while you were talking to them.
Yeah, they had one
That's weird.
earbud in and were talking to me.
Okay.
And their favorite comic book movie of all time, The Crow, we just started talking about it. And I'm like, I tried to save it. And she's like, what? And then she's like, oh, you're making some good points, Cody. Like, I'll disagree about, like, it's more nostalgic because of his death. Like, it's just a great movie. And then Dave comes on and obliterates it and blasts it off the list. And her face. And she's like, why would he do this?
We lost a listener that day.
And the thing is she's like around the same age as you. So like a Gen Xer. And she thought that surely the Gen Xer would keep it. Nope.
No, I don't have the love for The Crow that a lot of Gen Xers did.
So that is like my favorite interaction because I got to see someone react to the pod live with me there.
Coincidentally, my favorite interactions were people that don't like you.
Exactly. It wasn't that she got upset with Dave. It was more the reaction to like, you guys got rid of The Crow.
A couple times in the last few Comic Cons we've been to, we've been approached by people that come up to the table and have told us, we'll say, hey, we have a podcast. If you follow this, if you take this card, it'll take you to our podcast. And then they said, oh, we already listen. And that's been such a surprising, a pleasant thing to have people that already know us. But I just wanted to point out that for the first time in the last 6 months or so, we're getting people that listen to the pod and then meet us. And that's like the most delightful thing ever.
It is. And also, I forgot about the wedding.
Oh, yeah. Cody married a couple.
Yes.
At
Lindsay
our booth
and Brendan.
at Comic-Con.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was kind of neat. We are licensed ministers, ordained, whatever, however you want to say that. We are that, so we can do that sort of thing.
We can.
So just throwing it out there, if you would like us to preside over your wedding, even in a real church, we could do that too. Especially if you want a pop culture themed wedding, we got you.
Marriage.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention this one guy. We meet tons of people at Comic Cons, and they're all awesome. I could rattle off a list of names, and it wouldn't make any sense to most of you. But just know that everyone we've met at Comic Cons is so awesome.
And if I forgot your name, I'm sorry. I'm horrible with names.
Yeah, it's hard to remember everyone. But I do remember. Do you remember the first guy we ever met at a Comic Con? It was at Planet Comic Con in Kansas City. His name was Sam.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Sam, who actually the longtime listeners know, Sam actually was on the show a lot in the early days. We would have him on. He would call in and he would be like our expert on Be Kind Rewind movies because dude is like an encyclopedia of old Hollywood knowledge.
I'm here for it.
And Sam, I've talked to Sam here a couple months back and I said, we got to get you back on, but you got to get like with a real phone and a real connection. Cause we would go to Sam sometimes and like his connection would be bad. So the last time I distinctly remember he was like doing dishes while he was, talking. He had us on speakerphone.
You know what? You don't want to mess up the routine and habits.
Sam is just extremely intelligent, got a great memory, and just a treasure trove of Hollywood knowledge. And so, but he's so casual with it that yeah, I wanted to get him back on the show. But now that we're doing the Zooms, the technology's a little better. We'll have to get him back on. But that he was like literally, he was the first person we really connected with at a Comic-Con way back 4 years ago. So Sam, you'll always have that. You'll always be number one. So those are. Do you have a favorite Comic-Con? I mean, mine would just be Planet Comic-Con, just because it's so big and there's so many people.
I'm going to put Salina off to the side because I'm partial to the actual city of Salina and the people that run it.
Yeah, he went to college there, and our friend Scotty does run that. So that was fun.
So I will put that one off to the side, and also the Masonic Temple was a sweet building. I really like Nebraska Con.
The first year, yeah. So Nebraska Comic-Con, we went to it our first year this year in Omaha.
Yeah.
And it was great. And we're looking forward to going back in 2026.
God willing.
I think that's going to be a big one. It was pretty big for the first year, and I think in the second year it'll grow. I bet it's twice as big.
I hope.
So we'll definitely look forward to going back there. Yeah, I think so. I think we answered that question. Andy Aker from here in Southeast Kansas as well. What movie do you think has had the greatest influence shaping who you are? This question has some depth, Cody.
Oh my goodness.
Do you want me to go first? Because I know.
You go.
I want to say something like Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, the things I like to watch when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I want to say like Indiana Jones. That's maybe why I love history or something like this. But I realized upon rewatch that there is a movie that I quote and imitate in my behavior without even knowing it multiple times a day. And that movie is Wayne's World.
Oh, I thought you were going to say The Big Lebowski.
No, I love The Big Lebowski and it's very quotable. But I mean, even in like behaviors, I've noticed that Wayne's World, I say lines from it without even thinking. They're just common things in my day that I react the way I react, and it'll be something from Wayne's World. And I just realized that Wayne's World has had a huge effect on my mannerisms, what I think is funny, my sarcasm. For me, it's definitely Wayne's World.
I'm going to say Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, okay.
And that's kind of a darker, deep movie, and a Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah, he's great in that.
He is, and might be Mark Ruffalo's best acting gig. It's the only reason why I knew Mark Ruffalo before the Hulk. So,
not to be confused with his AI counterpart, Mark Muffalo.
Yes. Just the importance of relationships and being present and knowing that you can't really just delete people out of your life. That doesn't work well for us. And you know that there's something missing when someone is separate. Also, Beck is on that soundtrack.
I was like, your answer is so much deeper than mine. And then you said that. I'm like, all right, well, you know.
And I was really into a huge Beck phase in my late high school throughout mid-20s.
Who wasn't, but I was an adult.
Yeah.
Scotty Walker, our friend Scotty, who we just talked about from Salina, he asks, why is Over the Top the greatest Sylvester Stallone movie ever and nothing else comes close?
That's an accurate statement, Scotty.
I don't know why, Scotty. I don't know why we don't recognize this. Probably because it's a movie based on arm wrestling.
And truck driving.
Competitive arm wrestling. That's a thing.
It is a thing.
I just love the role of the hat in the movie, which I've joked about several times, but he would be losing and then he would take his other hand and turn his hat around and he would
while arm wrestling.
It's like when I turn my head around, I become a different person. He wins arm wrestling matches apparently. Also in the 80s, there was no, I mean, now you'd be like, an arm wrestling movie? In the 80s, it was like, yeah, of course, an arm wrestling movie, baby.
Machismo at its best.
There's a young man who goes to my church. His name's Eli. He recently broke his arm at a wedding reception arm wrestling.
Poor Eli.
And yeah, I know. It's terrible. I guess it made an audible noise when it happened.
It would.
So I guess it was like the PTSD among the people there. But I wanted to joke and be like, listen, we knew this was a thing that could happen because we watched movies like Over the Top.
Yep.
It seemed like every movie there was arm wrestling in, someone's got their arm snapped.
It happened all the time back in the 80s.
Also, Eli, all joking aside, I hope your arm's doing better. Because that would suck based on my viewings of Over the Top. Lauren Allen in Texas, if you had a chance to invent a country, what would you name it? When I had a Sim City, it was always Rimboltonia. So I guess I would just go with that.
I would do a play on my name and be like, have your land.
Cody, have your land.
Yep.
Aaron Bilby in Southeast Kansas says, why did 90s, early 2000s church culture forbid Harry Potter, yet promote Lord of the Rings? Both about wizards? Still clearly baffled by this. Oh, the church trauma. That's a good topic too.
That is.
I'll go first, I guess.
You go.
I just assumed that it has to do with church people. So I didn't grow up in church, so this baffled me too. In fact, one of the first church services I go to after I moved here, the guy said you shouldn't even watch Lord of the Rings and Narnia. Like, he said you should stay away from all of it. And I remember I was sitting in the back of the church. I'm like, what is this nonsense? Those dudes are Christians. I know that. Like, it has Christian allegories in them. Anyways, even
over the top Christian allegories.
Not Over the Top, the movie. That does not have Christian allegories, although maybe. But, you know, like, I think there in the culture, there's a natural thing to be afraid of what you don't know. So, like, most church people that grew up in the church know that J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were Christians. And so it's less threatening. And of course, they have the Christian allegories. Now, something we like to talk about in a lot of our stories and the movies we review is a lot of these themes are actually present in a lot of our stories. It turns out humans like those themes that are in the Bible. And so if you're looking hard enough, you can usually find a lot of themes that you find in the Bible in like Over the Top. I bet we could watch Over the Top and find something. Some element of the story that is Christ-like. I'm just guessing.
Making a sacrifice for his son.
Yeah. The movie's all about him reconciling with his son.
Yep. I've seen it.
Reconciliation. See? You see? It's in everything.
Nailed it.
I don't know, Aaron. I just think...
I got such a deep answer.
Yeah, I'll say this and I'll leave it at this and I'll let Cody go. I think the church doesn't, especially the American church, doesn't always know how to connect with art. I think the church has an art problem sometimes, meaning like music is definitely where I see it most because I run a Christian radio station. A lot of Christians think the Christian songs should be super biblical, as in biblically accurate. And if they're not, like if it's artsy in any way, they demonize it. Whereas I just think that's a poor understanding of what art is. Art is just the expression that comes out of us. And if you do follow Jesus, then you're going to make things that kind of honor that, but aren't like biblical, if that makes sense. If you want Bible, read the Bible. You know, like if you want to watch a movie about wizards, then I don't think there's anything threatening about which one you watch based on the content as far as the storytelling goes. Now, based on the content of movie rating wise, like if there's cursing in it or whatever, obviously you're not going to tell a kid to go watch Game of Thrones.
Explicit imagery.
Which also has wizards, you know, so and fantastical creatures. So there is a difference when it comes to age content as far as the explicitness of the content. But as far as the fantastical part, no, I don't know why Harry Potter's any different than Lord of the Rings.
I'm glad that our dear listener, Aaron, had put 90s in / early 2000s. Because at that point, you know what wasn't done yet? Harry Potter. They were still releasing them. So you don't know where it's going. So yeah. Part of it's the unknown. I'll deposit part of it's going to be the unknown, where part of it is church doesn't know.
The church doesn't know this is going in a heavily Jesus allegory sort of way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, by the time, because I think that it's around the 5th book comes out is when the movies start coming out, because that's when I said, forget reading, I'll watch the movie.
Yes, exactly.
Part of it might be for some churches, I'm not going to say all churches, and I think different churches are going to latch on to different ideas. But female writer compared to two male writers who also were professors at Ivy League British like colleges, like
Yeah. C.S. Lewis was literally a Christian philosopher.
yes.
Yeah.
Also, it's post-satanic panic. The 80s did a number on the church and pop culture things.
There's still people that demonize like Dungeons and Dragons, D&D role-playing game. Although I will say I know a large number of Christian youth that play it now. It's experiencing a little comeback.
And some individuals within the church and academia, Harry Potter wasn't and still isn't considered as classical or high literature, where Tolkien and Lewis both are esteemed. And I had a professor in college that talked about, like, do you honestly think that Harry Potter is going to have the impact or significance 50 years from now? Like,
Not the written version. No, I would agree with him. Yeah.
yeah, like Narnia or like Lord of the Rings. So that's another thing. And naivety, if you will, with the spells, because they're spelled out and Latin names sound scary. So I think all that coupled together made the church, some churches, because there were definitely churches that latched on to Harry Potter. I do know a church that did a Harry Potter sermon series. But all those things coupled together, that's why Harry Potter was frowned upon at that time. Lord of the Rings was considered acceptable with most.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. This is what I always say. It's like, look, if there's something that doesn't feel right to you in a story, then don't take part in that story. But what's good for the goose isn't always good for the gander. Everybody's different. Mm-hmm. And what you might be able to handle, like, I don't watch scary movies as much as Cody does because I know I can't handle it. It scares me. I get scared. Jim Smith from Pittman, New Jersey says, what is something many people like that you absolutely cannot stand? For me, it's popcorn. I know people dig the popcorn. My kids all love popcorn. I hate popcorn. I think it's gross. Watermelon comes a close second. That's flavored styrofoam. You can't convince me otherwise.
I would say Chipotle.
Cody hates Chipotle. So there you go. But it's not just food. I also think Avatar sucks. I don't understand why Avatar 2 made all that money because it's terrible. It's super derivative. It steals from a bunch of other long-standing stories, and I just don't like it. I think it's a hack job. I think it's the work of a hack. And I like Jim Cameron.
JC, as he's called commonly.
Nobody calls him that. But I like Titanic. I like Terminator. I like Aliens, but that was not my bag. Kyle Kessinger from Tonganoxie, Kansas says, what are some of your favorite science fiction films / science fiction TV shows that are not Star Wars, Marvel, DC? A list buster episode for science fiction could be great. So what's some of your favorite science fiction stuff that's not the big stuff?
Okay, so he didn't mention Doctor Who, but I'll say that that's a big one. I'll cross it off the list. Just know I really love Doctor Who.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cross Star Trek off too. He doesn't mention Star Trek, but I know that Kyle's a big Star Trek guy.
Yes. In my youth, I really liked the show on the Sci-Fi Network called Eureka. It was fun. And the premise was that like they worked at like this government secret base, but it was a town set up like kind of like the Los Alamos, but like only certain people knew what was happening within like the actual government facility stuff. Supernatural horror stuff that falls into sci-fi. Lost Girl, which was on the Sci-Fi Channel. It was good. Resident Alien. Oh.
Yeah, you've talked about that way too much.
It is. If you are looking for just a good, simple comedy show that has sci-fi elements and has good storytelling, watch that.
Yeah. I loved mostly standalone stories. So like movies, there were movies that stick out in my mind. One of them was Enemy Mine, which is a great sci-fi 80s movie about having to coexist with your enemy and get along with them and work together. It's a great movie. The Last Starfighter is also another 80s sci-fi movie that I wish would have been a bigger deal, like had a chain of movies, because it was just such a cool concept. It was about a teenager who gets good at a video game, and the video game turns out to be a recruitment tool to fight in this Star War type thing out in space. And so that was a really cool idea that I wish went more. TV series, other than you didn't mention Star Trek, but I figured you probably did, because I love Star Trek The Next Generation. I was really into that when that was airing. That came out once a week. It was syndicated, so you had to figure out which station played it and what time. I think the one I watched was on Saturdays at 6 p.m. It was a real weird time. But that's where you had to be in front of your TV a Saturday at 6 so you could watch some Star Trek The Next Generation. Also, I would be remiss if I did not mention the television show V.
Vendetta.
No, just V. And it was about a race of aliens who come to Earth. And at first they come in peace, but they look human, but underneath they're lizard people.
It happens
in disguise, and they start, mixing themselves into human foundations and institutions, which I think is really interesting when people mention that there's conspiracy theorists out there today who think that there are real lizard people, that we've already been infiltrated by aliens. And I always think, you got this from V.
So movies, because I completely spaced out on that part. District 9.
Oh, that was a good movie.
That was really good. And then I actually really liked Super 8. It might have been my favorite JJ movie.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I also, leans into the more silly, but I was a big fan of Space Ghost. When I was a kid, the cartoon. Space Ghost! I love that cartoon. That was great stuff. Jason Giesemann, Geek of the Round Table from Wichita. He is our last question of the 200th episodes. He says, congratulations on 200. If you can go back and redo one movie review episode, which one and why?
So
Thor, Love and Thunder, Cody. Say it. You admit you were wrong.
So it is Thor, Love and Thunder.
Oh, really?
But I would want a time machine that I, in the here now, can go back and be on the pod and tell you and Matt and myself, guys, this is as good as Marvel's going to be for a while.
He's probably not wrong. That's the sad part.
If James Gunn is not involved, it's going to be dark.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be dark.
Okay.
And in 2025, there will be a movie with Pedro. And I wouldn't even put it up there with this movie that we're reviewing. But the one with Florence Pugh, it's noteworthy, and it might be in Thor Love and Thunder category.
I listen, I think I did grade that movie more harshly, but it was because Marvel, we still remembered the height. We still were close to the height of Marvel. And when that movie came out, I felt like it was a make or break time. And for me, it broke. It was just like, look, there's no connective tissue here. You're supposed to be in this multiverse saga. Like, it was so weird what happened to Marvel in those eras. So do I think I was a little hard on the movie? Yeah, but I still didn't like it.
And has maybe one of the best fight sequences in a Marvel movie, and no one ever talks about it anymore.
What, with the kids?
With the kids in November Rain playing, chef's kiss.
It was a good soundtrack. It was a good choice to use Guns N' Roses. But yeah, I don't know, Jason. That's hard because I'm right most of the time. So I don't need another chance to review a movie. Although I will say, if I think if you go back and listen to Ant-Man Quantumania, I probably was lighter on it than I should have been.
Oh, especially with how hard we were on Thor Love and Thunder.
It's true. I was super hard on Thor Love and Thunder. And I think by the time Ant-Man Quantumania comes out, I'm just giving up a little bit. And so, like, I'm trying to find the good things, but Quantumania killed Marvel in a lot of ways. That movie, I think, did really real damage.
If he hadn't specified movie review, the pod I would go back to and would do differently would be the road movies.
We just did that one.
Yeah.
Because you didn't understand the concept?
No, I definitely understood the concept. I would have waited to do an honorable mention for Into the Wild instead of leading off with it. I would have done either straight trucker movies or I would have just done the Fast and Furious franchise a quarter mile at a time.
You're hilarious.
And then I would have talked about the Fast and Furious and strong churches are very connected, Dave. Do you want to know how?
Oh my gosh, I guess. If you'd have done that, I'd have been so mad.
They're very connected because if your congregants drive like Dominique Toretto to your church, you know your family.
So dumb. Well, that's a good way to end this episode, I think.
Yeah.
Let's end them like we always end them. Disappointment from Cody.
Sabotage takes no break.
You know, Cody, it's funny. When we started this podcast, we weren't really thinking about 200 episodes or anything like that. 4 years. We were just probably thinking about getting through the episode without messing up.
Yes.
Or forgetting that we didn't hit record, which I've done before.
It's a little frustrating.
Talked for like 10 minutes, realized I didn't hit record. Yeah, that's a thing that happens. But somewhere between that first awkward intro and this moment right now, something incredible happened. This little experiment, just a couple of friends talking about pop culture, it has become something bigger, and not because we planned it, but because y'all showed up. You, the listeners, you were listening, and you started to share your stories with us, and we started to meet you at comic conventions and became closer, and now we've got this community, and it was you that made all this matter. We talk a lot about movies and video games and TV shows and comic books and all these stories that fill our screens, wrestling. But what's really underneath all of it is something deeper. It's that every story, every superhero origin, every underdog comeback, every galaxy far, far away is actually a mirror that reflects who we are, what we hope for, and sometimes what we're afraid of if you watch the scary movies like Cody does.
Yep.
But the point is these stories reflect us. Storytelling is humanity's original act of hope. When we tell a story, we're saying, I believe someone out there is going to hear this story. And it's just one more small rebellion against this idea that kind of permeates and sneaks into our brains sometimes that we're all alone. We're not alone. You're not alone. If you think that, you're not alone. If you're listening to this podcast, you're not alone. And this community has proven that when we go to comic conventions. Cody, there's a quote from Interstellar that I've thought a lot about when I was preparing to do this. And it's he says, we're explorers. We've always defined ourselves by this ability to overcome the impossible. And isn't that what storytelling is, in a sense? Overcoming the impossible, the distance between us in the physical world. We can bring ourselves together with words and laughter and wonder at the stories we love. And as I look ahead to the next couple hundred episodes, I don't know exactly where it's going to go. Pop culture is going to keep changing. It always does. AI is doing its thing. Superheroes are going to reboot. Fandoms will flame out and flare up again. But the one thing that I know won't change is this. People will be here in the middle of it all talking about these stories, and there's something that can bring us together. And in this day and age, I think that's pretty important.
It is.
The future isn't something that just happens to us. It's something that we get to co-create in a sense with every story we tell, with every question that we ask, every community we build. So to everyone who has listened and laughed and argued with us from 100,000 miles away and geeked out with us, thank you. You are the best part of Pop Culture Pastor. And if the past 200 episodes were our origin story, then what comes next is the sequel, baby.
6 seasons in a movie.
6 seasons in a movie. The sequel's where things really start to get interesting. I mean, think about it. Every sequel's better than the original.
Occasionally.
We don't know what's ahead in pop culture or in life, but the stories we tell each other, that's how we keep coming together. And I say we keep coming together. Let's not do what the world's trying to do and divide us. Let's keep saying, hey, we like these things. Let's talk about them. We can sit together and talk. Come see us at comic conventions. 200th episodes. Thank you so much, everybody. We're just so glad to be able to do this.
Indeed.
We'll see you soon.